Well, good morning. Again, in the OMAC packaging work group, there's two main groups of committees. One is a set of technical committees, and you've been hearing from updates from them. I'm from the other side. It's sort of like a marketing type of thing or a benefits communication segment. So there's a PackAdvantage, which is the committee that I lead. Underneath that, we have PAC Adopt, which is how we talk about benefits from an OEM's perspective for adopting PAC-ML, and PAC Sys, which is the subcommittee that talks from the systems integrator's point of view about the benefits of adoption. So as we go through this, our group interacts with these other groups to try and create a full list of benefits and to give incentive for end users and OEMs to adopt a standard. So what I want to talk about today is not so much just about the group itself or anything, but more or less what we would like to do in terms of moving forward in a way that we can maybe give this kind of a bit of a jump start or a bit of a gentle nudge, in that we recognize that the PAC-ML standard is a very big apple for an OEM to swallow, as well as it is for any end user to swallow that has not yet started to get familiar with this. So what we're trying to do is say, well, aren't there certain things that we could do as a subset of the entire compliance that would provide benefit? And from that, we're trying to develop what we call a two-level compliance. So level B is a partial compliance. Level A would be a full compliance with the PAC-ML standard. So I'm going to try and talk about that and also talk about where we're headed over the next few months. So again, full compliance with the PAC-ML specification is what we call level A. And what we're thinking is that OEMs who are getting involved in this, as they're developing a new machine or a new generation of machines, that as they're going into a controller that they haven't populated with a program yet, this would be a great time to take this on and use the PAC-ML program methodology to be compliant. However, for machines that are already out there, and they're going to be out there for the next 3 to 5 years, we would encourage a level B compliance. So this is machinery that's already being offered by vendors with software in it that may have had little or no thought about PAC-ML at all. The main elements of this level B compliance would be to have an interconnectivity by means of the minimum tag set, which Jeff spoke about in the PAC-ML standard. Then the other two elements are more external to the controller in a sense, but still very important. So it was spoken about the common look and feel that PAC-ML provides in a program sense. There's also a common look and feel from the operator's interaction with a machine. So think about having a packaging line where from filler down to palletizer, as you walk up to an operator screen, you interact with the same set of screens. All right? So think about that end users. Think about that system integrators. The whole people aspect of getting the standard adopted can be covered, and I think it can be covered earlier on, because we can ask for a screen configuration, which really doesn't involve a lot of reprogramming per se, or doing something that the OEM doesn't know how to do. They know how to configure a screen. So what we have to do as the end users is try to agree on a set of screens that we would all ask for, and then that's how this would come about. And the last thing would be, my example of this is spending $110 million on a bottling line that went into one of our factories and you stand up on an elevated area and you look out across the packaging line, and every machine has a different set of stack lights. Different colors, different functions. Again, it's just not common. And so as one goes from machine to machine, you have to wonder, well, if you're looking as down the line and you see a blue flashing light on one machine, a steady green light on another machine, and yet everything's running, you're thinking, well, what's going on here? So we would suggest that, hopefully the end users can come up with something that's common. I don't believe there's any competitive advantage in having a unique stack light configuration. I can be proven wrong, but my feeling is there's no big benefit in that. So these are strictly examples of what some standard screens on an HMI could look like. I know there's some other screens that are floating out there. I think we need some consolidation and then move ahead with some agreement on what these screens are going to be. So right now I'm not saying that this is the screen, but I think we need to start to get the dialogue going on what the screen would be. And really, this is not high tech here. 3 lights, certain meanings for flashing and steady on. And again, I'd be very happy to speak with any end user. Come on. That's not fun. Hello. I'd speak with any end user about what they want to have for a stack light, and let's agree and start to ask for that commonly, okay? Just to maybe highlight, we've had some listing of benefits that have been touted, and of course these are, again, kind of conceptual benefits, and part of my job is to try and get some meat around these, but again, to try and segment out what goes on in level B versus level A, no big surprise, an end user gets a lot of benefit from level B. It's not the full canola, but there's a lot of good things that come about with it. There is a standard data tag structure in the program that can be used for communication. Consistent data within the PLC regarding the state of the machine, et cetera. That leads to a slightly easier line integration, I would think. Of course, we don't have the state model in level B, so that benefit's not there. But the common look and feel for the HMI, that's there. From an operator's point of view, it's there. Standard interface and predefined PAC tags, easier integration with a factory standard HMI, yes. Okay. Business benefit, the best-in-class solution, I'm going to say that that's really the full compliance, not the partial compliance. But there is a reduction in TCO, again, from the idea of less training effort to get a line up and going. How much time, you think about when an operator is learning about a machine, how much time is spent just trying to teach them how to navigate the screens in order to run a machine? And imagine, again, that being done once, and then it's done. And as you go from machine to machine, common look and feel, okay? From the OEM's side, there are benefits. Less customized code to test, meaning, again, these status tags are done once, and then they don't have to be redone again and again and again. It's an interesting thing about, there was talk about an OEM feeling that they're compliant or not. As that last bottling line I was involved with was built, we ran the full gamut from, as compliance was tested for a similar type of communication capability. Some vendors were dead on. Some vendors, as we walked in to do the FAT, they had nothing, just plain nothing. So it does run the gamut until there's a more consistent request for this type of functionality within a machine. You're going to keep getting that variation. You're going to keep having to re-verify compliance. On and on we go. In terms of customer delivery, again, there's a partial benefit of a slightly easier integration and startup at the site. Again, having the interconnectivity with the PAC tags is going to be very helpful. And down in business implications, for intellectual property, again, if the integrator doesn't have to do so much digging just to get certain status indications on the machine available to the line control, then that's less invasive digging into a machinery builder's program. As we go with system integrators, again, I saw only really a couple of areas for big benefit on level B. Again, the data for getting information up to an MES is there because the tags being supported within the controllers. And then also, again, looking at the MES, being able to do more with the functionality of the MES because you're not just trying to get the information, you already know you have it, et cetera. Just moves you further down in getting the integration done. My perception on the technology providers is it's kind of a wash. Level B versus level A, most of what they're going to have as a benefit really only kicks in with full compliance. Path forward. We've also heard this morning, earlier on, that we do have some interdependency between the various subcommittees. How PAC Safe is waiting on PAC Connect. In essence, for PackAdvantage to kind of move forward, I'm waiting a little bit on PAC Spec. I can't go and ask what is the savings in time in terms of calendar time or a savings in percentage of cost until I'm handing them something that says, this is what I want you to do. Okay, so this goes to what I would hand to an end user to say, here's what we're going to try and specify. What do you see as the benefit if we get this? As I go to machinery builder and say, this is what we want you to put in the controller, what's it going to take? And then if you don't have to do this time after time, what's it going to save? System integrator, same thing. But I need the spec. So the flow, as I see it, would be that we get some spec paragraphs. It's not a full specification. We just need the stuff related to PAC-ML compliance. Get that information from PAC Spec. Take it and shop it through the end user community for PackAdvantage, OEMs through PAC Adopt, system integrators through PAC Syst. And then once we get that information back, we can start to quantify the benefits of adoption. This is an excerpt from a template for the PAC Spec. What I've done in yellow is kind of tweaked a little bit what they've already drafted. And basically, again, looking for a level A compliance and a level B compliance, having a section there around the user interface, which is going to have the HMI screens, having a section in there that specifies the configuration for the alarm beacon. And I'm not telling them that they have to do all this stuff. I think the HMI screen is a discussion amongst end users to start with, to try and come sort of consensus, and alarm beacon is kind of the same thing. So in a sense, we could take in parallel and try and get agreement on the screens and the alarm beacon, hand that to PAC Spec, and then have them include that with the document that we would then shop to the other stakeholders. So again, obtain the compliance specification from PAC Spec, and then review with PackAdvantage, PAC Adopt, and PAC Syst, and then from there I can compile a benefits list. And before anybody asks, no, I don't have any dates. But I think that what I do see as an encouragement is in fact that I am sort of participating with PAC Spec. I try to, as they gather, I try to gather with them. And I think we'll get there relatively quickly. Having the standard itself get solidified is going to be a big help for that. Again, a lot of these things, the skepticism around adoption is around chasing a moving target. If we can start to establish that we have a stationary target, then we can get some traction on this.